Hey, Chris, before we get started with this episode, we got a comment on Spotify.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's right. We got one from Butch Butcher who wrote, I'm enjoying the show and I appreciate you guys' thoughts about the show. I was wondering if you had any thoughts about Coach Taylor telling Matt not to make a mistake of hating his father. Throughout the show, we get hints that Eric and his father had a strained relationship. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts about that. Anyways, I'm enjoying the show and I can't wait for you to get to season 2.
Damn. That's a great question.
What are your thoughts?
I think he's telling the right thing, and it's funny. The last episode we did, we kind of touched on Eric Taylor talking about how he had a tough dad, and I think Coach realizes just holding that hate towards your dad is really going to get you nowhere, and I think he just wants him to focus on the positive, and yeah, just focus on what you can change.
100%. I think, Taylor being older and wiser is definitely countered wins and losses. He's definitely encountered people probably trying to fuck him over, which could include his father and other adult figures in his life. And I think he learned over time that having that anger and resentment just fuels the bad impulses. And if he sees that Riggins is a very impulsive person, because of, especially when it comes to alcohol abuse, that he's probably like, you know what, just try not let this. Oh, we're talking about Matt though, right?
Yeah, Matt.
Shit, not Riggins. My bad. I mean, either father figure, but like, especially for Matt, it's like, hey, that hate's gonna break you. That hate's gonna break you. You're such a sweet kid. You're a nice guy. You're focused. Your heart's in the right place, and we see that come to a head in season 5, I believe. So, it's true. Sorry, I got that mixed up with Riggins. It's just we've been talking,
okay.
Folks. We're recording this after we've recorded a few episodes, and we're very Riggins heavy. So,
Yeah.
but thank you so much for the question and comment, Butcher. If folks, you can leave comments on Spotify. We'll read them and respond to them as well, or leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app, and we'll read it on the show as well. So either way, thanks for supporting the show, and enjoy this episode.
You listen to me.
No.
You listen to me.
Listen to me.
You listen to me closer than you've ever listened.
What's up, y'all? This is Friday Night Lights Rewind. I'm Brandon Collins.
And I'm Chris Allen.
And we're here with another edition of the podcast talking about episode 16 of season 1, Black Eyes and Broken Hearts.
Yeah.
This one follows, we immediately pick up after Smash and all the black players, which account to 25% of the Panthers roster walking on a protest because of Mac's very ignorant, racist comments. And we'll obviously talk about this episode, Chris, but I gotta be upfront.
Okay.
I gotta be upfront about something.
Let's...
I think this show,
Uh-oh.
the show does a really good job of handling the different characters, different dynamics, the racial tensions, all these things. And I really enjoyed this episode until we got to the last scene with Mac and Smash. And even my wife's been watching these episodes with me, and she was furious about how that all like kind of worked out, so to speak.
Right.
Because it seemed very accommodating to Mac. And I get it. Like, he's been with the team for decades. He was part of like the integration racially of the team and stuff. And Mac even says to Coach Taylor at one point, he's like, I'm a very simple man. I'm not, very smart, blah, blah, blah. But it seemed like all these white guys were just giving each other excuses. And then like, to the point where Smash has to be convinced by his mom, like, hey, I get what you're doing, but like, it's fucking you up more than it's going to fuck up this guy. Yeah. And so Smash and the black players, it's not play like this where they're coming with their hat in hand, but they show up like, oh, we're back. Right. And Taylor, of course, immediately like, welcomes it. But I'm just like, that just didn't feel right. But at the same time, that is how the world works, especially now. Yeah. And it just, it was frustrating. It's less of a beef with the episode than more like, fuck. This is how it is.
And you know what? I felt like we were gonna end up jumping around quite a bit on this because this I feel like there's a lot of emotion, and I think we both can relate to this type of shit. And you're right, man. I have that in my notes. I have that specifically in my notes. He calls himself a simple man. It's like they always do that shit. Whenever they get caught doing something stupid and specifically racist, I'm just a simple man. I'm just a simple guy. I just want to fish and I like my daughters and I'm just a simple guy. You know what I mean? It's just like, stop with that bullshit. Stop with the fucking bullshit, because just before you were, yelling at these kids being all tough, didn't want to apologize. You were standing your ground. Now you're just
100%.
like, I'm just a simple guy, man. I just want to. It's like, stop with this shit, bro. I hate it. And you're so right. You're so right. This is the first time that I really and I'm struggling with it. Like where I'm like, yo, I don't fuck with coach right now. I don't.
This is
You know
you
what
know
I'm
what,
saying?
I get it, and I definitely, it's hard because you love coach so much, but
Yeah.
he has that scene with Tammy where he kicks out the kid during their
Yeah.
counseling session with Tammy, which is so fucked up. That's
Yeah.
like the equivalent of bursting into a therapist's office and like kicking out their client that they're talking to so that you could talk to them, right? But
Yeah.
he's, you know it's interesting because you're seeing coach dealing with the obligation he has as a coach to win games and keep his job, but
Right.
also like trying to do right by his black players, which he didn't go to smashing the black players. I don't know if that's because he was giving them space or whatever, but like we didn't
Yeah.
see that scene, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then and then he's like, to Tammy, it made me laugh really hard, where he was like, he was like, "Oh, I'm coming to you for a counselor as advice," and then she's like, "Well, you got to fire Mac. Those are fireable offenses.
Yeah.
The things he said." And
Exactly.
he's like, "All right, I want to talk to my wife now, who knows I need this job."
Yeah.
But it's also like you're right. It's a tough position to be in, and but at the same time, like Mac should have been fired
Yeah.
for sure. There's other
Yeah.
Macs. Like eventually, Mac's gonna have to retire. There has to be a new Mac, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Even if he never did anything wrong, it's like he's going to leave at some point in time. And he needs to think about, yeah, I've been with this team for 20 plus years. I'm giving up half my pension. So he should think about that before and go, you know what? I said some dumb shit. Say all that shit you said to the cameras. Hey, you know what? When my dad saw them integrating, I didn't think it was right. But hey, maybe some things leaked in over time. Don't go behind closed doors and with the coach and want to come hat in hand and wearing your pop clothes.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also remember, it
Thanks for
took
the beer. Shut
yeah,
the
well,
fuck
it
up.
took Mac also an episode and a half to get to that point where he's like humble at coach and like sends tenders his resignation, like because early in that episode, like Mac said, "I did your song and dance" to coach. It's
Yeah.
like you don't understand the gravity of the situation you're in right now.
Yeah.
Y'all just had
Yeah.
to pull the whole fucking roster and replace all your black, strong, athletic players who are going to get you through the playoffs and get you a championship with little white straws that can barely, the wing can push them around. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then you got
Yeah.
you got the great-eyed black dude who's like the Smash man. I'm worried about college, and Smash is like, just hold on, brother. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Smash is the last person on this team I would follow. No
Yeah.
offense to, like, it's not that Smash isn't a smart dude. It's just the way he's carried himself this whole season. I'm like, I'm not gonna risk my fucking career for your shit.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's funny too because like we always see the same things. Like it's funny how like the show focuses on certain people, but then we realize like, hey, there's a whole other kid and kids on this team who are great players
100%.
who are going to college. You know what I mean? Even
Mhm.
and we want all our guys to go to college. It's like there are people on the team, like you said, the green eye, the light eye kid.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, I almost got a scholarship, and which thinks like, yo, how come we're not following him? You know
Mhm.
why smash? He's you know what I'm saying. But I like that. It actually adds a lot of depth to the team, and it shows you like, yo, this is a good squad. We might not be following everybody, but this is really impacting other people. And this kid wants to get the fuck out of Dillon, Texas. Like
Everybody does.
he's putting a lot on the line.
Mm-hmm.
No, and it was funny to go back to this scene where you were talking about Smash's mom. Like, yo, I wrote that down too. She goes, "Yo, what do you like? What do you think you're doing?" She's like, "You think you're gonna stop racism in a small town in Texas over?"
Yeah.
She was like, "No, you're fucking playing."
And it's,
And
that's after she's seen like Smash's girlfriend kind of like, even
yeah,
Smash calls her Angela Davis, where she's like, you're going to get them to fire Mac. It's going to be okay. And then his mom was just like watching from the window, like this little heifer going to get my son fucked up because she
right,
knows that her son's not academically strong. That's the thing is like, you know, I feel like black women are so fucking good at like reading the room and assessing all the different options very, very quickly. So she
mhm,
looks at her son. She's like, I love my son to death. I love Smash to death, but he's not strong academically. He's kind of hard headed and stubborn, but he's a great football player. So it's like, I don't know. She probably doesn't want him to play football for the rest of his life. But she's like, if there's anything that's going to get him out of the small fucking racist ass town where I
Right.
have to fucking like hang my rugs out in the, on the string because I couldn't get the house I wanted, it's going to be
Right.
football. So I'm not going to let, anything kind of fuck that up for him,
Right.
especially this mini protest that at the end of the day, Mac is still going to win.
Exactly. I think she saw the futility in what he was doing. And
Yeah.
you're right. It's just like why it's like I get it because it's like you want to teach your kids to be principled and to stand up for things, but you don't want to teach them to give up. But it's just like it's a weird. It has to be a weird thing because it's like she taught him to fight.
Yeah.
All that she's been through. I'm pretty sure they talked about racism and slavery and all that kind of stuff, and then they get hit with some real shit, and then she's got to be like, "Yo, you got to stop, man. This shit ain't gonna work." It's just like that's a hard pill to have to make your kid swallow, and for you to at the same time, it's just like I'm not it's not like the whole like you seeing behind the curtain of Wizard of Oz or anything like that. But I think that's a tough thing to do, man, because as a parent, you want your kids to dream that they really can make a change by doing things the right way. And you talk to them about civil disobedience and Martin Luther King and
Yeah.
standing up. And here's a real world situation, and his mom has to tell him, hey, nigga, that shit ain't gonna work, bro. Sorry. I know it almost feel like it's all been lip service. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it
It's a
is.
fucked
It,
up thing. It's like,
it for
yo,
sure is.
shit don't work, man. I know we talked about it in the sound school, but in actuality, the shit don't really do anything.
What would you tell your son if you were in the situation? Because my wife and I were talking about it this morning when we were watching this episode. She's like, what would you tell our kid? I was like, probably similar to what Smash's mom did. It's just, I would give them my perspective and advice and let them go with it there. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
they got to make their own decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that conversation would come, and I get it for TV they have to sequence things a certain way to add dramatic effects and all that kind of blah 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 blah. But I think I would let him know that very early on. And again, we also don't see everything that goes on in this world. We just kind of peeking in.
100%.
So, but I would say I would let him know that early. Like, and you know what? If he wanted to quit over it, I'm not gonna stop my son from that. To be honest,
Mm.
I'm not gonna stop him. But I would definitely at that point, if he was like, "Yo, I'm thinking about quitting because this went on," I would go, "I respect that, but let's think about this. And if you choose to quit, I'm gonna have your back." What about you?
Yeah, like I said, I think it would be similar to what Smash's mom said. It'd just be
Mm,
like more, like, hey, I feel confident that I raised you well and that you're going to make the right decision, but just, consider like, the outcomes, consider the many outcomes of the situation, and that you're very likely, unfortunately, to lose. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that prospect of losing? Not saying that you can't lose and losing is a part of life. It definitely is. But in this situation, losing could, you could be short, you could be, uh, you could be at a deficit for a while if you
yeah,
lose. You know what I mean?
yeah.
There's some things where you lose and you're just like, damn, that sucks. And you're like bruised from it. Or like,
Mhm.
in the case of Tim Riggins, you get fucked up. This is the next episode, but you get fucked up and shit. And you're just like, hey, I guess I gotta keep moving on. But this has severe consequences. They don't play this game, Smash is, and Smash is already on thin ice still with the coach. You know what I mean? It's like there's these things, these dynamics that people don't even know about. And so
Yeah,
Smash
yeah,
is lucky that Coach Taylor is a good guy, because
man.
Coach Taylor could easily have squashed this shit by being like, Smash, come to my office. It's
Yeah,
like either you bring everybody back or the news about your steroid use gets out.
yeah.
It's like, what do you
He
want to
could
do?
do that.
What do
He
you
could
want to
do
do?
that. Yeah. It could get ugly, man. This is some real world shit. You're right, because Smash and the kids, they don't really see the long term ramifications of this type of shit, especially when you're talking about race. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
But I did think it was funny though that Buddy Garrity came into the office. He's like, "Hey Mac, it's gonna be okay." He goes to the Coach Taylor's office like, "You got fired back." I was like,
Yeah.
"Damn, Buddy."
And see, this episode, it really gives you a look into this good old boy system.
Mm,
Because look at that. Just That was basically like a mob hit. Hey man, everything's gonna be cool. Literally goes in there and go, he's gotta die.
Yeah.
He's telling that guy, yeah, we cool. And then hey, shoot him. You gotta kill him.
Yeah, but also, did you peep how Buddy talked about the players? He said without smashing the other guys. You know what I mean? Like these white men are
Oh
very
yeah.
uncomfortable talking about black people and saying
Yeah.
black, like because even Tammy forces Coach Taylor. She's like the black players. He's like the black. He's like, I get what you're,
He was
like
so annoyed, but yeah, you're right. She made him. I'm glad you noticed that too. She made
yeah.
him say it. She made
Mm-hmm.
him say it. You're right. It
Tammy's
just
a real one, man. Tammy's, I
yeah,
mean, she's fucking nuts sometimes, especially when it comes to her
it,
daughter.
yeah,
But
which we'll get to.
man, I mean, I wrote that on my notes. I was like, in a dark world, I'm Saracen, and my low key goal is to get to the mom.
Oh man,
I'm sorry.
man.
I'm sorry, man. Every episode, I'm like, Connie Britton, goddamn.
I see.
Every episode, I'm just like, even because Mika Kelly pops up here and there in this episode, but like Connie Britton, I'm just like, because she plays Tammy so well,
Yeah.
and she has elements also my wife that I appreciate. So I think that's just why I'm like,
I
you
even wrote
know,
in my notes too. I said something about Tammy, and then just in parentheses, right? It was just like fine as hell. She
yeah.
looked so good these two episodes.
She looked better than those strippers that they went to.
Oh
Because the subplot of this episode is that Julie's still hanging out with Tyra, getting into some shenanigans, where
yeah,
Tyra ends up taking her to a strip club that her sister works at.
yeah.
And then Landry, because Landry now is like getting to know Tyra, which we know, you and I know, like as having watched the show, where that's going to go in season 2 and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But Landry's, man, Jesse Plemons was so funny in this episode. He's
He's
like,
been he's been hilarious.
well, because Matt's trying to buy jewelry at first to make it to make up for lying to Julie. And
Right.
so one of the like necklaces was like almost $1,000. He's like, yeah, man, diamonds are stupid. Think about the Africans. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, so in Dillon, Texas, they do teach you about oppression and third world countries and
Yeah.
the
Blood diamonds.
exactly and
Yeah.
stuff. So Mac, especially because Matt mentions he has like daughters and shit like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
Mac should know better, especially if he was part of the first coaching team that integrated the Dillon Panthers.
But here's the thing. Here's a rub
Okay.
about that type of shit. We hear that he helped integrate the team. It's just like, okay, that's cool, but the bar was so low. Because if you like, if you listen, if you watch sports documentaries, like they'll make a big deal about like I want to give the right example, but I want to say it was like Bill Russell and another white player. Like the white player drank out of the same water bottle, and they like, oh, he's such a hero. He drank after a black dude. It's just like sometimes we can give
That's
people
so wild.
almost too much
That's
credit for
so
that
fucking
shit.
nuts. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, Mac wants to play. He wants to win football games. So just because he was like, y'all should let the black players play, he wants to win. It has nothing to do with him giving a fuck about black people. He sees an edge for him to win, and he sees a route that no one else wants to take, and goes, "Yo, this is how we can get the edge." He's just a little less racist than his grandfather. But you would assume so because he was cool with the integration of the team. That doesn't mean he want these motherfuckers coming over for dinner and shit like that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
100%. Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, this episode was a lot going on.
It's
But going,
it's it's a lot, man.
yeah, going back to the Matt and Julie subplot. So,
Oh
and when
yeah.
Julie hanging out with Tyra and stuff like that, um, Matt gets her little thing, piece of jewelry, and he's
Right.
trying to like connect with Julie. She's at the strip club. Landry and Matt go to the strip club. Landry is just ogling and googling and all kinds of shit, and then he gets the club in trouble
Yeah.
because a cop pops up. And
Yeah.
right before that, I laughed so hard when he was like asking Matt for singles, and Matt's like, "For what?" He's like, "For tips." He's like, "These women are working hard, man. Would you grow up on a farm?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And the thing I feel like not Riggers, but he has it figured out. I love how Landry handles himself. I think
Yeah.
he has it kind of figured out, man. Because these ladies are working hard, and Matt is just so oblivious. Like even when he at the lunchroom when they're talking about the mixtape, and Tyra was like, "Nah, that's not gonna work," and one, it's just funny because like Tyra, she just really shows you how much more mature girls are in high school. There's always like that one or a bunch of girls in high school who they just seem like grown women because like they will overhear some of your conversations and like, y'all so fucking stupid. Like,
Mm,
what are you doing? This is how you fix that. And when you're always like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. Like, yeah, that's how you fix that. But I say that to say, like, just the way he was kind of like he it was like a weird kind of flirting with her that he was doing with
yes.
Tyra. Almost like a submissive, almost like, hey, I know you're the big dog here. Even though I'm the guy, I'm gonna kind of show you my belly and kind of it was just a weird kind of like beta way of flirting. But I think she kind of likes that shit.
Yeah, she does because she's so used to being around like overly masculine, like extremely masculine, toxic guys.
Yeah.
And so, or like manipulative guys. And so to see like Landry's like a genuinely nice dude. And, for me, like, I was watching this with my wife, Tati, and she was kind of like, you kind of have a vibe, like, you kind of have a vibe like that where like, you're like a very earnest, nice guy. And, but you're also like kind of silly and like, a, you kind of like going with your own flow because Landry's kind of like smiling and
Yeah.
like he's like, I'm gonna go out and watch this strip show and shit. And they're all like,
Yeah.
stay in here. And he's like, why? Like, I'm gonna have fun, man. And I'm
He's
like,
yeah, exactly. He's not cool, but he's cool in the sense of like, fuck it, I'll go. Like y'all just don't ask me to do shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
he's not cool, but he's cool. Like, yo, I know he has his own boundaries. And he's like you said, he's gonna do his own thing, which makes him cool.
So
And like,
yeah.
go ahead.
I was gonna say so much so that folks were jumping way ahead. But when we get to the journey, Michael B. Jordan, Jesse Plemons love triangle,
Mhm.
he takes that L. Like he takes the L, but he understands. He's kind of like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I get it. It's not just a black thing, but it's Michael B. Jordan. It's just like I get it.
Yeah, he's very like he's wise beyond he's wise beyond his years, but he still has like a kind of like a child innocence to him.
Mm,
He kind of goes with the flow, but he seems to be a little bit more mature than the other ones, but also
100%.
innocent about things. That's what I really like about Landry. And also, yeah, I think Tyra hasn't really been around that kind of like innocent, flirty guy
Mhm.
because I feel like most guys should be in the wheelhouse of Saracen and Landry. But she's dealing with she's dealing with, the with the Tim Riggins of the world because
Yep.
she's just in a different environment. So I think it's weird for her to be faced with like this kind of corny, kind of like a childish kind of guy in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of Riggins, I have a few things I want to run by you.
Uh-oh.
One is I wrote down my notes. Given everything that's happened, maybe they should rename the play that's called White Nine. That's just a random comedy observation I made.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they pull in the JV players, and then Rickens just starts screaming at them, and
Yeah.
then Coach Taylor's like, "Hey, you got to like help mentor them. You can't just like fucking beat them down." And
Yeah.
then one of the young players is like, "I'm with you, Rickens." He's like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
And so that had me thinking, Chris,
Ouch. Fuck.
you okay?
Yeah, I just bumped into my table.
Oh, okay. I thought you had like sciatica or something like that.
Nah.
I'm like, yeah, that's some old nigga shit.
Yeah.
Uh, but I wrote down, okay, I know in the past we've talked about Sterling K. Brown or something like that, someone of that caliber and
Mhm.
that accessibility playing the new coach for whatever Friday Night Lights reboot they're doing.
Okay.
But like for the first time, I could kind of see, Chris, Taylor Kitsch, aka Tim Riggins, being the coach of the reboot.
1000%.
Right? Like for some reason, like I don't know why I hadn't considered it. And then I'm watching this episode. I'm like, yo, I think Taylor Kitsch could do it.
Yeah.
I think Taylor, like, I think there's, because I was thinking about who's had success post Friday Night Lights. Obviously Michael B. Jordan's the biggest name, probably. Kyle Chandler, Connie Britton's still out here working. I mean, she's not the biggest star.
Right.
Jesse Plemons is an Oscar-nominated actor.
Yeah,
Fucking Mary Kirsten Dunst. You know what I mean? Like some people have done really, really well. And I was like, Taylor Kitsch never really got above Riggins. And so, given the fact that a lot of stars are going back to these roles where they became famous or were critically acclaimed for, I can see Taylor Kitsch, an older age Tim Riggins,
Yeah.
being the coach, and because that offers him so many opportunities to redeem himself,
Yes.
to help
Yeah.
young people learn from their
Yeah.
mistakes. He has his own issues with poverty and race and family dynamics, all these things. I think that could be really interesting. As long as you have like good writers and directors, I think that could be he could be the transition from this show to the new show without it feeling forced because he stays in Dillon, Texas.
Damn, that's so true. It's so funny. I just saw an article where they asked Minka Kelly about her character making a comeback, and even she said she goes, "I think we should just leave it where it is and let people wanting more from it." And I was like, okay, that's good to hear from her. And like how there's a other couple people were like, "Oh no, I think we should move on." But dude, I'd never thought about that either. I think that would be great. It's a way to connect an old cast member to the new show. And right, I think Tim's character is deep enough, but we still don't know enough about him to where it would be that would be great because he has a lot to redeem himself for.
And
Yeah, hell yeah.
you can start off with the
Fuck
Dillon
yeah.
Panthers have been struggling for a while. And they're
Yeah.
like, you know what? Fuck it. What do we have to lose? Tim Riggins, you want to coach?
Right.
And the
Exactly.
first season, it doesn't go well. Like,
It
let's do
doesn't.
the flip. Like, let's do the flip where like it doesn't go well, but then he started slowly built up his confidence and his approach as a coach. Folks, call us at 347-454-1501. Let us know what you think about Taylor Kitsch, aka Tim
Dang.
Riggins, potentially being the coach for the Friday Night Lights reboot.
Damn, that's great, man. That's so
All right.
good.
I didn't want to run that by you. I was thinking that when we
No,
were watching this episode. I'm like, interesting. That could be
that's
something.
That's good because I could see like at some point Dylan getting in trouble because they've always done wild shit to kind of be one of the better teams. You know what I mean? And I think maybe like what if Dylan for a while kind of has a bad name? Like, hey, they're kind of like they're kind of cheaters or whatever. So yeah, they have to end up finding the Tim Riggins type to kind of bring them
Yeah.
back. And it would be kind of symbolic of like not only does he have to reclaim his name, the school also has to reclaim theirs, and it could be like the whole thing.
What's wild is, if memory serves, I think they wouldn't even have to really write a new pilot because if memory serves, the plot of the Friday Night Lights movie they initially wanted to do was going to be about Coach Taylor kind of being involved in some cheating scandal, and then he returns to Texas, I think, to like redeem himself or whatever. So you could easily,
Oh
I
shit.
think it just never came to fruition or whatever. But I think you could easily do that with Riggins. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Damn.
so I don't know. It's just food for thought. I wouldn't be surprised if they're talking to Taylor Kitsch, honestly.
Yeah, because everybody else, it seems it would be too much. Like I
Yeah.
don't think Smash could do it. Street,
Yeah.
that would be that would be too much. Yeah, Coach, obviously, no. But
Saracen. I as much as I like Zach Gifford, I don't know if
no.
that's that would be attractive enough. But I think Taylor Kitsch, knowing that Tim Riggins is going to be the coach, and everyone who's a fan of the show is like, Tim Riggins, that fucking mess. Okay, I'll at least see what it's about. I'll at least see what direction they go in. You know what I mean?
Right. Because yeah, it seemed because Matt, I think he wanted to be an artist. He didn't really have interest
Yeah.
in football like that.
Yeah.
But for Tim, it was kind of like it was his oh shit. Was it his life? You know what? I think it could be a thing for him where it's just like he realized like, hey, this could have been my thing. And he wants to make sure that nobody ruins their opportunity. Because he had an opportunity. He went to school and he fucking walked out day
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
He had an opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, folks,
Yeah.
we've seen the whole series, so we know where everyone goes.
Damn.
But just food for thought. Again, leave us a
Sorry,
voicemail at
Ian.
347-544-1501.
Bro, I'll just say this. You should just write the pilot, man. You should you should just write one, man. Why not?
Yeah.
Send it somewhere. Go, hey, you know the show. You know the show.
100%.
Damn.
We'll see. We'll see.
Damn, BC. I'm jealous. All right.
All right. So let's talk about. I forgot that technically the coaches are government employees. Tammy reminds Coach Taylor that she's like, Mac is a government employee, so what he says is a fireable offense.
That's
like,
yeah.
damn.
Oh, she did say that. Yeah. Oh yeah. They work for the county. Yeah, they do.
Which I didn't realize. I didn't realize that
Yeah.
coaches are technically. I mean, they work for the school, so that makes sense actually.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Especially there, it's not like in some cases where it's just like that guy is actually like a general contractor and it's like a part-time thing. I think
100%.
they're like coaches full time. Like that's
Yeah.
what they do.
Mhm.
And I think Mac was actually teaching driver's ed.
Was he?
I want to say he was teaching driver's ed at one point because somebody came and got him from class.
Okay. I mean, all the coaches typically like they have to teach a class, whether it's like phys ed or
Yeah,
health or something like that. Yeah, that's definitely like a thing that happens.
yeah. So
Um, what did you think of? Okay, before we get to the game and stuff like that, what did you think of uh,
oh,
the Taylors not immediately taking Julie out of holding and Tammy's reaction to like the strippers?
classic. That's definitely a her dad's a coach. That's definitely a move that they will pull. Not coming to get them. Um, uh, oh, we kind of brushed it a little bit, but like how the Taylors they don't really care for Tyra, and this is
Yes,
the icing on the cake. This is the icing on the cake. Because they opened this episode up with them kind of like yo, like what's going on with you and her, like why are you guys hanging out together,
yeah,
you
and I
know?
think I think that that's like more. Yeah, it's and I know what that's like. I had a few friends like growing up where like my mom was like, don't hang out with that kid. And I'm like, why? They're like, just don't hang out with that kid. You know, like parents make immediate judgments. I mean, you know, Julie's just curious. I don't think it also doesn't seem like Julie really has that many friends. So I think that she's just kind of latching on to anyone that's open to, mentoring her and taking her under their wing.
Right.
So she is a little bit more susceptible to Tyra, but it's not like Tyra's malicious. Well, she did have her steal from that store last
Yeah,
episode. So
they're really mixing it up well, man. But it's
yeah.
just there's I think like what shows when there's like a lot of like when you like characters but there's a lot of mixed emotion.
Mm.
To me that's like the best because I don't really want to spoil it now, but like they're really setting they don't like Tyra.
No, not at
But
all.
low key, all right, I'll just say I'm not gonna say exact, but low key, Tyra is the biggest influence as to why something did not happen in the next episode. Because she tells Julie, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
So it's like I really feel like they're setting her up to be such a bad person, you know. And no matter what your parents say, I feel like our friends and our peers have a huge impact on our final decision, you
100%.
know. And I and I
100%.
think and I think I as much as Julie may have in it, I don't want to say enjoy, but as much as she respects her mom and listen to what her mother has to say, but watching Julie's face when she was like, "Yo, you don't have to do this," was like, really? I thought you would be the one to encourage me
Well, remember,
because
she's going through a rebellious phase. So that makes sense.
yeah, she is. And this is I just think it's cool that like while on the parent standpoint, like Tyra is the bad one, but they have no idea that like she's actually, yeah, she's doing it, stealing and all that type of shit. She actually gave her solid advice, like, yo, you don't have to do this. It almost makes me think, and maybe this is me just being heavy-handed into thinking, like, do you think that Tyra regrets all of her sexual activity?
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Okay.
I know
Yeah.
I don't. It's been real hard because his music had a profound impact on my life, and I just can't support it right now. But Kanye had one like,
Oh
like he had
yeah.
that lyric where he's like, I know there's some niggas that you wish you could unswallow and shit like that. I'm like, oh yeah, we all have like regrets like from sexual dalliances or partners where we're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or that wasn't good. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah, I've had some bad sexual encounters where I'm just like, I should have just jerked off. Like that would have been better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or yeah, so I'm sure Tyra, especially like the dude that she thought was going to get her out of Dylan and stuff like that, I'm sure she regrets that. I'm sure, she's probably regretted a few other people because,
Yeah. And
who
that,
knows?
yeah, ain't no telling what the positions her mom and or sister had put her in the past, even though they don't really allude to any of that. But she's probably seen a lot. You know what I mean? We,
Well,
we
well,
we've seen a glimpse of it. So
I think that's why Tammy is so adamant about Julie staying away from Tyra because she's
yeah,
like, the sister's a stripper, the mom is a secretary for Buddy.
yeah,
I do that in quotes, folks, if you're not watching the video.
yeah,
And it's just like all these where she's just like, And I think it's different because also she hasn't welcomed Tyra and her family into their house the way that even for Riggins, right? Riggins and Billy had come over. It was incredibly awkward, but at least she saw them trying to function and
Right.
trying to get their life together.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's very different for girls, and like that's the thing. Like there's an episode a few episodes ago, it's like it's tougher for girls or something like that. So
Yeah. See, that's how good the show
it
is.
is. It's very good.
We're discussing it, and then we end up saying shit that are titles for other episodes.
Yep. Did
But
yeah.
you're right. And to go back to the Colettes, it's just like, because even Julie was like, "Yo, you're stereotyping, you're prejudiced." She was like, "You're with your prejudice team,"
Yes.
but she's right. But I mean, Tyra's family, they check all the boxes. I mean, you could just look at the mom and tell, okay, she used to be bad back in the day. She's kind of hitting a rough time. They live in a trailer. The daughter, the other daughter's a stripper, and as Coach Taylor said, the young one, the one that is fucking with his daughter, doesn't wear enough clothes. She's getting suspended, drinking on campus. So like, from their standpoint, it's just like, yo, come on, man. We see this trailer trash. They're
Yeah.
white trash. That's what they don't want to say. You know?
100%.
What the mom, yeah, dead end jobs. The older sister is stripping, and then you got the little hottie still in high school, and it looks like she's headed the same fucking way. And here's my daughter. I'm the fucking coach in town. I'm the big swinging dick, and you hanging around with this fucking lady. No, we're not having it. So I so
Yeah.
so I get it. I see why I understand it. But I feel like they're trying not to be too harsh though.
Well, I mean, Tammy is pretty dismissive about the strippers, and like
Well,
she's very judgmental
at
talking about the
that point,
stripping.
right, at that point, because yeah, I was saying all that, and like that's the thing. Like at that moment when she got caught at the strip club, I felt like all of their worst uh ideas of what they were getting into came to fruition, because they
Mhm.
already know what all of them are into, and it's like, god damn it, she's at the strip club with this fucking girl. Like wait, they didn't find out she was stealing, did they?
They did. Well, she was playing hooky, so I don't know. I don't think that they found out about like her
Yeah,
stealing stuff because she didn't get caught or whatever,
she's
right? Which I feel like I feel like everybody has one thing that they stole and stuff. Like there was a period where I was kind of like a little
oh
fucking thief.
man.
I felt bad about it. I felt guilty about it, but I was also like, I see all these other kids. I was very bad at that. Like where I would feel guilty, but then also use the excuse like everyone else was doing it, and it's like
Yeah,
my mom
same.
used to say, "Well, if everyone else jumped off a cliff with you," and I'm like, I mean, why are they jumping off the cliff?
But why are they?
Yeah.
And it's a valid question, but parents don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about real quick. To the Saracen buying the jewelry for Julie.
Oh yeah,
Did you ever buy gifts for your girlfriends, especially in high school? I used to do that shit all the time. I buy them like Godiva chocolates because my mom had a discount because she worked at Godiva chocolate, or I'd like do like mixed CDs or like really romantic dinners and shit like that. I was like mad corny back then.
Romantic. I did to a degree, but my mom was really funny about that stuff.
Okay.
Really, really funny. She would it would have to be something that was nice, but not too expensive. Like she definitely was like she definitely put her hand in the way of it a lot of times. Like, no, you're doing too much. Don't get that. Just get this instead. A red rose says too much. But I used to try, definitely. But my mom would definitely put a limit on that type of shit though. But I would definitely try to. And I feel like most guys do. I think we all kind of start off in this corner, kind of. Is it corny? I guess, but in an innocent, funny way, it's kind of corny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to me, the funniest thing was when the lady asked, like, how bad did you mess up? Was it diamonds bad or was it like something else? And Landry goes, no, it was diamond bad. It was diamond
Yeah.
bad. And you go, no, it's not diamond bad.
Well, when you're in high school, though, you're like, oh man,
But when he was like, because he says it to the lady, he goes, 3 girls in a hot tub bad. I go, you know what? In high school, that's probably the worst, unless you fuck somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's the worst it's gonna get. So like, I was like, even on an adult scale, if I was in a hot tub with 3 women, I would be fucked.
Yes,
Fucked.
100%. Yeah,
You if
yeah, bro.
fucked. So like when you really think about it, he really did fuck up. Because as a grown man, 3 women in a hot tub, done.
Mm.
As a grown man, let alone 16. The amount of insecurity that a 16-year-old, what is Julie, probably 14 or 15?
She's 15 because remember
15.
Julie,
Oh
because the
yeah,
next
you're
episode, Julie said, You're
15.
15. Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt did fuck up. So I would say technically, if he wasn't a teenager,
Yeah.
he did diamond fuck up.
I mean, it is, yeah, it is bad because that's the coach's daughter, and
Yeah.
like you're flirting with cheerleaders and other,
Yeah.
cute Texas girls and stuff like that. That's a problem for sure.
It's a problem, bro.
But at the same time, he was abducted. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like sometimes you get abducted and like you don't even know what's going on. Then you get fucked up. Like, people are pouring drinks down your mouth and you getting fucked up. Like I think about that movie Scream 2. Like Scream is like my favorite horror series.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if you remember a Scream 2 where Jerry O'Connell's character, like, his girlfriend has to go into fucking hiding because she's being stopped by this killer, right? He gets abducted by his frat boys, strung up. They're fucking feeding him all kinds of drinks. Chicks are grabbing his dick and stuff because he's shirtless and stuff. And he's tied up to the point where he can't get down when the killer's revealed. And the killer just shoots him in the chest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta like think about the duress that some of these people are under when they get abducted, even by people they know, man.
He was abducted. He could have. Did he try to escape? No.
No. Yeah, but he's a nice guy, He's like,
he really is.
I gotta just take this photo and that's it. Okay.
That has hurt me because I'm a non-confrontational person but also I'm a non-confrontational when I in normal situations. But there are days where it's just like you say anything to me, I could lose my shit. But I think as a New Yorker, you probably get that. That's anybody, any given
100%, yeah.
But like there are times where I'm like, it's just easier for me to do this thing, and it's gotten me in hot water with my wife, like pictures with certain women, where I can just go, hey, you know what? I think I'm cool, man. I think I'm cool. So it's just learning how to like let people down and go, nah, I'm not taking any pictures with anybody.
I'm good.
I'm good. And for real, have you ever had to tell a whoops like, come on, you know why? It's like, come on, man.
Oh, I mean, I had this situation where I was running. I had this really popular stand-up comedy show in downtown Manhattan, and it was like a monthly show, and we had regulars that come out, and there was this one Spanish chick, like she would always come with her sister, right? And she got hammered at one show. I guess she didn't realize that my wife was always, it was my girlfriend at the time, but she was always at the show, right? And she just thought she was like a producer on the show. And so like she wants to hang out with me and my friends after one of the shows, and she's like kissing up on my neck because she's so drunk and shit. She's like, I always wanted to, hook up with you or whatever. And like Tati is right there, but she's amused by it because my wife has been around a long time. We've been friends for a long time. Like my wife is even around. Like she was my wing woman for one time. Like
what?
Yeah, because I was performing at a show, and my ex came, and then the girl I was currently like dating was also in the audience, and my ex didn't know I was dating someone else, and so she was thinking that we were gonna go back to my place together. And so Tati peeped that, and she was like, oh, come hang out with me instead, and like distracted her while I left with a old girl. So it's a whole thing. It's crazy.
And then she ended up taking you.
Yeah. She was plotting the whole time. That's why
she was plotting the whole time.
That's what I tell myself. Yeah. She was plotting the whole time. All right, let's talk about the game.
All right,
let's talk about the game. When Smash and the Black players show up, and they just walk past Mac and stuff like that. They're like, this doesn't change anything. And again, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I wrote down. I mean, it does start that the players have to come back. And we don't even see like if Taylor did reach out to them, but Mac was readily accepted back, even though he tried to tender his resignation, right? And then they cut real quick to the Black coach just giving Mac the side eye. I'm like, he don't get no lines. He don't get to express himself ever.
Yo, that's my first. And for this episode, my first note is the Black coach. What's his deal? He never says anything. What's his deal? But you know what? I think they did a great job at showing you how like a character with no lines can still add things to the show, because there were a lot of beats where like something would get said and then like it was just enough of his face in there to see like, uh how he's feeling, because you know what? I take that back. I don't feel bad. Maybe this is why he doesn't say anything.
Mm,
It's more symbolic of like, hey, he's caught up and doesn't have a voice.
yeah.
You know, and you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of us end up in that situation. Yeah, he's a black coach because you would think he would say something, but he's caught in the middle because he just want to be he want to be the coach. And
Yep.
he's probably like, yo, there's not a lot of black coaches. I can't say anything, even though I'm mad. It would have been cool though to see like him in the talking to the smashing the guys. I think that could have been interesting
Mm, yeah.
to see what his take was. But yeah, man, that's fucking weird, man. That's so weird that he didn't get any. He got no lines.
100%.
Weird,
It was weird, really weird.
weird.
And then
But
they're
I
going
think it
to a,
helped.
and then apparently they're going to a really racist town to play their away game.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and Smash is getting fucked up. The other teams just playing brutal, and like the refs are like not calling the right calls and shit like that.
Right.
And my wife was getting upset. She's like, "Yo, they're fucking these kids up." And then there a fight breaks out because Smash gets fucked up so bad that Riggin steps in and starts fighting. Then it becomes a whole thing, and then the officials they basically declare Dylan as the winners because they played 3 quarters, which technically counts as a full game,
Right.
and the Panthers are awarded the win. The other coach is like threateningly like at Coach Taylor is like, "You stay and you play." And I was like, not with that
You
attitude.
staying, you play.
I was like, nope, nope. And then the coach says, "See you next year, coach." I was like, that's not good. That's not good. But then that all leads to the cops pulling over the bus and basically
Hated it.
telling them to like bring Smash out because they're
Hated
going to
it.
arrest him because he
Hated it.
threw the first punch, and so now it's a legal matter.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, they already know. They let Smash off that bus. They're never going to see Smash again. Or at the very least, Smash is going to have a football career
He's gonna get
afterwards.
smashed. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to no matter what, it's not going to be a good situation because they're definitely going to beat him.
Yeah.
It just depends on how bad they beat him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like this. This gave me 1950s, 60s lynching vibe.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was like, man. And also too, like during this time, like high school sports and like it's really taken off and these kids are really getting popular. This is like real world IRL. And like this is really becoming a thing too in real life sports where like OJ Mayo got arrested on the court for bumping a referee. You
Mm,
know, like where like there was a time period where I felt like they were starting to criminalize these dudes at a very early age, all because they were jealous over athletics. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I feel like that's where a lot of white dudes racism come from is athletics. It comes very early in athletics and getting invested on the football field or any type of sports field. That's where the insecurity really starts to come and form is in sports. And
100%.
man, this shit, man. I know you probably like, damn, this motherfucker mad. This shit really fucking bothered me.
No, I get it.
And the other thing that bothered me too, I hated it, and again to go back to the Mac McGill thing, that thing of we need white people to come in and step in for us and save the day.
Mm, yep.
And like I don't want this. And do you feel like this scene is meant to kind of absolve McGill of everything that he did?
I mean, I think it's supposed to show that he's willing to stand up for what's quote unquote right in the moment. It's there's a bunch of
See,
different layers there.
I don't like
I mean,
it
I think
because
it's just a coach. I think it's just a coach instinct. I wouldn't even put obviously there's a very dark, malicious racial element to this dynamic. That's what it's all about. That's why they're trying to get smashed. But I think for just Mac as his instincts as a coach are to protect his players, right?
right,
And so I think following Coach Taylor's lead, it's like, we're not gonna do that. You know
right,
what I mean? Like everything Mac said, Coach Taylor would have probably said too.
yeah.
You know what I mean about the Warren and all that stuff when we got all night. Like they just gave those lines to Mac to make him seem like, to help redeem him a little bit.
I just
Because at the end of the day, that's the thing is these shows are, and it's still like this. It's like, you can't make all white dudes evil, because then it's like, oh well,
Yeah.
they're oppressed. I legit like watched a MSNBC, like a conservative was on, and he was like, white men have been oppressed for the past like 8 years. It's not right. I'm like, what? Like, it's just.
They
Oh,
really
that's why
believe
y'all
that.
say DEI, because y'all just think you're being oppressed because other people are finally getting
Yep.
opportunities. Got
Yep.
it. Okay.
Yeah. They there's a sect of white men out there who really truly feel that they are oppressed right now and they can't do and say what they want. They really feel that way. They really do.
And another reason why Riggins will work really good as a new coach is because I can see him having like his second in command is a black dude who's like, I know about you. And I've heard some
Oh,
things about you.
yeah.
And like I could see that could be a great entry
Yeah.
into talking about race on that team and within Dillon, Texas. You
Damn.
know what I mean?
Uh-oh. BC about to write this bad boy.
No, I'm sure they already got writers and
They
shit.
they're gonna they see this script, they scrapping it. They
Yeah, they're
see
gonna scrap the show. They're gonna be like, oh, this is a terrible idea. We're not doing this.
they go, no, we need to bring them in. We need to scrap everything we wrote.
I love how Smash though, even when Mac was giving them like, orders, so to speak, or direction on the field, Smash is leaning away from him. Did you peep that? Like Smash is like kind of leaning away from him and stuff. Yeah, man. I was just like, oh, they made a mistake. Oh, yeah, yeah. And then Mac says to Smash, because Smash is like, what happened with those cops? He's like, they made a mistake, son, just like I did. And I wrote down for the first time ever watching this show, I wrote down, boo.
Just like I did. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I get it, but I don't like the how we end up making him out to be the victim and he win. I don't know. But also it's just like, hey, people have the right to change.
Yes.
And it's like we want them to, but it's just like, nah, not like that. You know what I'm saying? That's too fast. Because I think we can be like that. I think a lot of communities can be like that where we want help from other people.
Mhm.
We want other people to help, whatever community you fall in that you felt is not being seen. And when there are people who fuck up, but there are also people who are just trying to help. And it's just like, nah, not like that. And it's just like we got to learn to communicate and and not try to really, really, really kill people when they're actually trying to help and learn and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm trying to see if I missed anything. So. Oh, you hit that on the head. Wait, is this the episode where they have? Nope, that's the next episode. Sorry.
Yeah, because we're at the end of the episode now. Yeah. We're at, Smash, they return home, Smash's neck is all fucked up. And, we'll see how the team moves forward after this weird win where, Coach Taylor reamed them because they got in a huge fight. And he's like, this isn't something to be smiling about, even though we won. That's not how we play. And so, yeah, that's how we wrap up episode 16, Black Eyes and Broken Hearts. So, folks, if this is your first time watching or listening to Friday Night Lights Rewind, we do a summary of the episode, initial thoughts, and then we do our on the bench rec, which is for a character or actor that we feel like just had egregious behavior or did some questionable shit. And so, for on the bench, do you have a recommendation, Chris?
Coach Taylor.
Oh wow, okay.
I told you it was weird.
Why? What's up? What happened?
I don't like the fact that he let Matt keep his job. Okay. It's just, to me, I feel like it kind of perpetuates that like white supremacy shit, man. To me, it's just like at the end of the day, I feel like they're always gonna kind of side with each other. You know what I mean? But but also too, like I don't think Mac is a bad guy. So that's why I feel torn about it, because I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, coach, you got to pull the trigger. I feel like you should have pulled the trigger on it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put Mac on the bench just because he should have known better. If he is a simple man as he claims, you don't do interviews. You get very short answers. You don't elaborate. You don't do anything, right?
Damn,
you just shut the fuck up. You say, yeah, we did played a good game. Goodbye. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this a whole situation could be avoided. That's probably why it's been avoided for so long, because he knows better than to do interviews. But because he was at one point trying to go for Coach Taylor's spot, which he admits in this episode,
Ooh,
he's trying to get some more
dang.
spotlight, but now he knows better. His hands been burned, so he's going to shut the fuck up and just do his job, which is fine by me.
Did they ever show the principal at this in this show? I
No,
can't
no,
remember.
no. We don't really. We don't. I don't think we meet the principal until season 2 or season 3 for sure, because all the shit
Okay.
that happens with the Taylors
Yeah.
and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's true, but not
Yeah.
right now.
No,
Right.
no, not right
Do
now. It's not
you,
important.
quick question. Do you think at this moment they're like, oh, thank God we didn't hire this guy because we kind of knew that he might have been the problem?
I don't think
Or
so. I
no?
think that
Okay.
now like probably they're like, oh, we dodged the bullet there or
Yeah, that's
whatever.
what I'm
But
saying. Like, why? But why didn't he get it? Was it like, I know it was. It's a lot of it is because he was Jason Street's quarterback
yes,
coach for a
yeah.
long time. But do you also think like, hey man, he's kind of been around for a long time,
No,
and
Street got Coach Taylor the job. That was very clear in like the first like 3 episodes. So I think
okay,
Mac. That's why Mac was so sore,
that's
because I
true,
think
right?
probably Mac was next in line
He
to
was,
get it,
yeah,
and then Jason Street's family was probably like, no, it's going to be Coach Taylor.
yeah,
You know what I mean? All right,
okay.
MVP character. This is for a character that went above and beyond the Call of Duty, or like did something very honorable in this episode. Do you have an MVP character, Chris?
I'm going with Smash.
Oh,
I
okay.
up until now, I respect what he's trying to do, and he's listening to his mom. He's taking these adults' advice. He made his point. He made his point,
Yes,
and he
yes.
got back in there. And
Okay.
he didn't do a bad job acting, because I typically, and I know this is not what this one is about, but it's typically with him is so bad that I can't. But I felt like he was in the wheelhouse in his bag this episode.
Fair enough. Okay.
What
Okay.
about you?
Yeah. So for me, MVP character, it's probably gonna be Landry, because Landry brought a lot of levity to this episode. He brought like some, good comic timing, a different perspective, different kind of energy for what the episode was kind of going for, and most of
Mhm.
the plot lines. Yeah, I just enjoyed him, like getting little breaks from the racial tension and like frustration I was experiencing with Taylor and Mac and stuff like that. So I'm gonna give it to Landry this episode.
Oh, okay.
And then game ball for actor or actress performance. So this is for someone that, like, even if we didn't agree with what the character did, they still fucking knocked it out the park with their performance. So for you, who was it for this episode?
See, I looked at Landry from that standpoint with the game ball. I just
Okay.
thought he was he's just such a great actor. He's just
Mm,
such a great actor. I thought
yeah,
he was really, really funny. I thought he played it really well. He just plays this kind of naive, kind of innocent, dorky high school character so well.
he does.
Yeah,
He does.
he was great these last couple episodes. He's really, really good.
Okay. Okay, got it. For me, game ball performance, man, I'm gonna go with Connie Britton. I'm gonna go with
Mhm.
Connie Britton. I think that scene that she had with Coach Taylor in the office was really good. I think her reactions to, as much as I didn't agree with her perspective, her reactions to Julie at the strip club and stuff like that, and kind of showing the escalation of like the parents trying to deal with like Julie's slightly rebellious streak. It was very honest. Again, I don't fully agree with her perspective, but at the same time, I know it's like to have a mom freaking out about seemingly losing control of their kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I like how they admitted they don't really know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, that's everything, man.
Yeah.
That's everything in life.
Yeah. I tell my
Uh,
son that. I go, yeah, we don't know what we're doing, man. I don't try to hide it. I tell
yeah.
him like,
Yeah.
I'm new.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen,
I
kid.
don't know.
All right. And now let's score this episode. So, folks, if this is your first time listening to Friday Night Lights Rewind, we rate things on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being a drunk Riggins puking on the field, and 10 being a Coach Taylor Hall of Fame speech. So, for episode 16, Chris, what is your final score?
I'm gonna give it a 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 10. I'll tell you why. I've seen it a few times now. It doesn't hit like it does the first time, but this is when I'm really like I'm into the show. And I remember at this time I was like, man, they really haven't had any racial thing. And I remember this is when it hit, and me being so enthralled with these episodes. So I'm giving it a 10 based on my very first watch the very first time I watched it, and the
Yeah.
impact that it had on me. I don't know if that's fair or not, but I think that would give it a truer rating for me. I'm gonna give it a 10
Okay.
because yeah, this was a lot.
Yeah. All right. I'm giving it a 9. I thought it was a
Okay.
really good episode, but just the ending that I wish that ending was a little bit stronger, a little bit more earned.
Mhm.
With the whole Mac defending, Smash and all that stuff. I wish
Right.
that there was a better way to service that, the end of that storyline. I'm not sure it's going to percolate over the next few episodes, but still, like, it would have been. I think there could have been a stronger way to end that. Nothing's coming to mind right now. But folks, hope you enjoyed this episode of Friday Night Lights Rewind. Chris, tell the people how they can follow you, bro.
Follow me on everything at Chris Allen Comedy, my YouTube page,
Bang.
Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So watch my special, gotta be honest, on my YouTube page. And I don't have any big dates coming up, but yeah, just check me out on YouTube and follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all social media platforms.
Dope. If you're listening to this live as we release it, please, if you're in New York City, come out to the 420 show I have in downtown Manhattan.
Oh,
Um,
shoot.
Hazy Eyes, Full Lungs, Can't Lose, variety show. It's gonna be a fun time. Sponsored by made by Her Highness and Lee's Art. And you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads. I got some Drunk Black History dates coming up as well. If you're not in the New York area, Boston, Brooklyn, Detroit. So be sure to go drunkblackhistory.com for those dates. And as always, you can hit us up at Friday Night Lights Rewind at gmail.com with your thoughts, or leave us, some comments on Spotify, your favorite podcast application. Leave us a 5-star review, or leave us a voicemail again at 347-454-1501. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next Friday.
Your eyes
Full hearts.
can't lose.
Peace.
We did it.